From one Marvel property to the next, yes, as I promised, let's talk about 1943 Rise of Hydra and the man in the red, white, and blue. It is a weird name. I don't understand why they didn't just call it Captain America Rise of Hydra, but you know, I digress. Currently, the game is slated for a 2025 release, though that could change, and I bet a lot of Xbox users are firmly clutching onto their potato edition in fear as they look in the mirror and ask themselves the question, will this run at 30 frames a second on my potato? Just like Hellblade 2 will when it releases, as both these titles are aiming to take you on a journey. And what journey is that?
Cinematic journey, because it is cinema, Ray.
Yes, that's right. This game will be, in quotes, classed as a cinematic experience, an action cinematic experience. The best way for me to explain the terminology of cinematic experience is using movies, for example. Most movies are actually shot in 24 frames a second, and that's because the frame rate actually results in a certain amount of motion blur and distinctive rhythm in movement that is perceived by viewers as natural or real. Personally, the frame rate is the least of my concerns when it comes to this game. It is absolutely stunning regardless. The game takes place in Occupy Paris and will feature 4 heroes, so all 4 heroes that you actually see in the cinematic trailer you will play, and you must overcome their differences and form this alliance to confront their common enemy, which is presumably the beginning of Hydra. I do sincerely hope that we actually do get an appearance of Red Skull within the game as well. That'll just be the icing on the cake. We might also see how Cap gets his shield, as Howard Stark is confirmed to be in the game. Azuri, T'Challa's grandfather, which will be the first Black Panther that Cap meets, is played by none other than Kahari Payton, best known for his role as Ezekiel from The Walking Dead as the King of the Kingdom. The new actor replacing Chris Evans, Captain America, I'm not too familiar with. He goes by Drew. I'm going to murder your last name here. Is it Moaleen? Sorry, Drew. I'm not familiar with any of his previous work, and I've not actually consumed any of his current work, but he's clearly willing enough and confident enough to step into the shoes of the American super soldier and take on the mantle. King Azuri will not be alone, however, in his fight against Hydra without some much needed support from his Wakandan embedded spy, Nanali. Cap will also not be alone in his endeavor against Hydra, as we see in the trailer that Gabriel Jones, one of the Howling Commandos, who fans should recognize from the 2011 Captain America the First Avenger movie, makes an appearance. Now, not only is this Marvel game looking better than any Marvel film today, it's also being run by Amy Hennig, who is one of the all-time vets, and you'll probably know some of her work. In fact, you probably played it. That's from games like Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain, Jack and Daxter, the Uncharted series, going all the way up to Uncharted 4 at the beginning before leaving Naughty Dog to pursue other pursuits, hoping to work on a Star Wars title at Visceral Games, which the studio was closed down. That game was cancelled. We never got to see it. Well, we got to see a little bit of it. And she was credited on a lot of other titles, including Forspoken. She did not write Forspoken. She was credited for creating the concept of the game world. So we can all have a dud now and then. So Amy is one of those in the industry that I still trust today that she's going to deliver. She's not steered me wrong yet. And not only is it impressive on a visual level, it's also impressive on a technical level. And they did showcase what the Unreal Engine 5.4 could do in a presentation, which I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out. It's about 12 minutes long. It's super impressive. These may be minor details, but these are mind-blowing. And Amy probably explains it better than I can, so I'm just going to read what she said. To create a really immersive game experience, the characters and environments have to work together harmoniously. We just can't drop believable characters into a less convincing world, so we need to start with authentic and densely detailed environments as the setting to our story. Because part of our story is set in the 1940s Occupy Paris, we needed the world to have a really believable and visceral level of detail and grit. So she's really not holding back. She's really pushing limits, and I, for one, am here for it. And it is just like, for those that like this kind of eye porn, this is basically what it is. It is eye candy that is just absolutely sublime. They can change the density of the snow on objects at a whim, so you can get that lived-in feeling. They can also move this light over this barrel, and you see how it affects the smoke, and it is just absolutely stunning. And as you see here, Unreal Engine 5.4, just how it captures garments, the way Cap's uniform actually moves in unison with Cap as he's moving, with all the creases and everything. These little details mean a lot to gamers that love this kind of thing, especially me. On top of that, they're also using MetaHuman, which we have seen with Hellblade 2, another fantastic tool that quickly and intuitively creates photorealistic digital humans fully rigged and ready to use. You can reproduce facial animations as high fidelity animation, and there's no fancy hardware required. Every nuance of the actor's performance is captured and transferred onto your digital human. Now, with how this looks on a graphical level, how mouth-watering it is, there is obviously concerns. I haven't seen any combat, so I don't know what the combat looks like. Apparently, they think that when Cap's throwing his shield in the trailer, that's actually combat. I'll be surprised if it is, but there's also another game that you're probably familiar with that was ahead of its time, that came out in 2015, that I really loved, and it was also absolutely gorgeous, but it didn't seem to gel with people. I still want a sequel though, and that is The Order 1886. And guess what, internet world? I played this at 30 frames a second, and I didn't give a fuck. And that's because I love movies, and I also love movie games. And just the werewolf transformation scene as a whole was absolutely mind-blowing when I saw it for the first time. The whole concept of the game with the knights having names like Lancelot and whatnot, and the juice that they could drink, the graphics, the vampires and werewolf theme, I was all in. Set in London in 1886 with Tesla guns, absolutely crazy and visually stunning. So if you're listening Ready at Dawn, we need a sequel now. And unfortunately, what comes with this territory is if it's absolutely gorgeous looking game, that it's going to suffer in other areas. And the industry has been struggling with this for many years. They'll make a game look really good, but then the combat is pretty simplistic at best. It's going to be a very linear story. It's pushing you from A to B. You're not getting the opportunity to explore areas that much. It's kind of minimal at best. And I'm okay with it, but I'm wondering, where is the point where the industry is going to find that nice fine balance between what the production is compared to what the gameplay is. And this is probably the only factor that's actually going to hinder the game's overall reception from the gaming community. But after seeing this trailer, I have the utmost faith that Amy will ultimately deliver on an immersive, exciting and thrilling action-adventure Marvel game. As long as I can throw a fucking shield around like Cap and pounce on people and then shoot people, and I don't know what the Wakandan spy in the Nali's gonna do, but she does have a sword, so I'm guessing slicey dicey stabby stabby. I think I'm gonna be good. The story looks solid, looks better than anything Marvel's putting out right now. Thank God we've got games, is all I can say. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. I always love to hear from you. Are you excited for 1943 Rise of Hydra? I'm excited for this game. I can't wait to play this one. How do you feel about playing 4 players instead of just, say, Cap and Black Panther? Do we need to play these other 2? I'm thinking ESG money, you know, they had to tick some boxes. This is how a lot of the industry is now, with getting loans for projects in film, now in games. I'm sure everybody's aware that the activists have invaded, as well as Sweet Baby Inc. But unlike other projects, I'm confident enough in Amy's pedigree that this will not be tainted, as she's already an established brilliant writer and probably one of the last good eggs in the industry we can rely on. So these are just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. Always love to hear from you. No platforms have been confirmed, but just assume PC, PlayStation and Xbox. We still have other Marvel titles coming down the pipeline. We still got to wait to see what Iron Man looks like, and I'm a massive fan of Iron Man. And we've also got to wait and see what Wolverine looks like. And at least we forget Blade. But I'm going to get out your hair. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash a like on it. It really helps out the channel as we continue to grow the YouTube. If you want to support the channel further, the best way of supporting the channel is by subscribing. If you want to support even further than that, you'll find my social links down below to follow me over there. Hit that notification bell. And as always, have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.